Good morning.
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 Morning. I'm going to give everybody a second to get logged in as they move their way over here. Morning. I'm going to give everybody a second to get logged in as they move their way over here. Okay, the order on the James matter has been signed. That matter is completed. So Ms. Connolly, I think yours is going to be the quickest. So let me pull that file up. Did you file the two orders?
I filed mine yesterday because Mr. Radon never got back to me on the one I sent to him a couple weeks ago. So I just filed mine. But then this morning, he filed the one I sent him 2 weeks ago with his signature on it. So now you have two orders in there, but they appear to be identical to me.
Okay, let me pull that up. All right, I see the one that's signed by you and your client.
And he sent his in at like 8:30 this morning, so it may not have been accepted by the clerk yet.
You check and see if there's that order, because I think what I'm going to do is just have you print that signature page and Ms. Connolly's order, and I'm going to merge those two and make a new order. It is 17-246-961 Rhodey. There should be another order signed by the other lawyer. All right, Ms. Connolly, she has found it and she's pulled it, so they're sending it to me now. What I'm going to do is take your order and I'm going to attach their signature page to it so that I've got an order signed by everybody, and I'm signing that this morning. So I don't want you to have to stick around for that, but I've made a docket entry and I'll sign the order here in just a few seconds.
Okay, appreciate it, Judge. Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
Okay, let's do the, I think the adoption's probably the next one. We've got a default in Hernandez. That'll take a little longer. Default in Manrique. So let's do the adoption. Ms. Alston, are you ready on that?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay. And this is a termination and adoption, correct?
No, Your Honor, the father is deceased, so it's just an adoption.
Okay.
So I need to let my clients know they can unmute themselves now.
Sorry, I'm making my clerks work hard. Can you send in that order when you get a chance? She's working on that prior order, but give me 1 second. As soon as she sends me that on the adoption order. Yeah. It's on 2270437. I get going and I forget we've got staff that are working their tails off trying to keep up. So give me 1 second. There it is. Okay. If I can have the petitioners please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you're going to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Alston, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I'd ask the court to take judicial notice of the file with the filings of the requisite documents, the ICPC affidavit, adoption evaluation, and our proposed order. We've also filed the child's birth certificate and the death certificate for the father as evidence that father predeceased the child in this petition for adoption.
The court will take judicial notice of the court's file and all those documents contained within it.
And then, Your Honor, also at the pretrial, the judge did waive the necessity of an amicus attorney at this time. And also we're asking that the court waive the necessity of the health, social, educational, and genetic history report under section 162.005A, since this is a step parent adoption.
The court is going to waive the health, social, education, and genetic history report that's under 162.005A, and I am hereby waiving that. And I see that Judge Hepper did make a docket entry that the amicus was waived as well.
Thank you, Judge. I'll call my first witness, which will be Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, can you state your full name for the court, please?
Yes. My full name is Channing, last name Lee.
And Mr. Lee, you're the petitioner in this matter today with your wife who's here with you, correct?
Yes.
And you're the stepfather of the child you're seeking to adopt today, correct?
Yes.
And what is her name?
Her name is Muen Miao.
And how old is Muen?
Muen is 9 years old.
And how long have you been Muen's stepfather?
I have been her stepfather for almost 3 years.
And her biological father has passed away, correct?
Yes.
And today you're asking the court to grant an adoption by you of Muen, correct?
Yes.
And you're asking the court to create the parent-child relationship between you and Muen for all legal purposes. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand in doing so, it will be as if Muen was born to you.
Yes.
And you understand that it will create certain responsibilities for you to care for her and provide for her as well, correct?
Yes.
And you're here today also asking for a name change for Muen to Muen Ava Lee. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in asking for the adoption today, you believe that the court granting this adoption would be in Muen's best interest.
Yes.
And actually, that's all I have, Your Honor.
May call your next witness, Ms. Alston.
Thank you, Judge. I'd call Ms. G. Ms. G, can you state your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Shen Ji.
And Ms. G, you are Mr. Lee's wife, is that correct?
Yes,
And you're Muen's mom.
yes,
And you're here today joining your husband to ask the court to grant this adoption today. Is that correct?
Yes,
And how long have you and Mr. Lee been married?
about 3 years.
And Muin knows Mr. Lee as her father at this point. Is that correct?
Yes,
And she looks at him to be her father, correct?
yes,
And so today, in asking the court to establish the parent-child relationship between Muin and Mr. Lee, you're just asking the court to make this legal at this point, correct?
yes,
And you're also joining in to ask the court to change Muin's name to Muin Ava Lee, correct?
Yeah. yes,
To reflect Mr. Lee's last name and the last name of your other two little ones, correct?
yes,
And you also believe this adoption is in Muin's best interest.
yes.
I have nothing further, Judge.
All right, thank you, Ms. Alston. Any other witnesses that you'd like to call?
No, Your Honor.
All right, the court has reviewed the paperwork that was filed by Ms. Alston, Mr. Lee, and Ms. G, and everything has been done very well by your lawyer. All the paperwork is perfectly done. And I find that all the prerequisites for the adoption have been met. And I find that the adoption would be in Muin's best interest, and I am granting the adoption. I'm also granting your request to change her name. So her name will now be Muin Ava Lee. And I'm assigning an order to that effect. I've also authorized 5 certified copies to be provided to the petitioners after the signing of this order. And that completes this case. Congratulations to you. It's always an honor for me to be able to take part in adoptions. These are special days for the court as well as the family. So thank y'all for letting me take part in it, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms.
Thank you,
Alston.
Your Honor.
May we be excused?
You may.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Freeland, there's a couple of documents that I didn't see that we're going to need. One is the non-military affidavit. Have you had a chance to look to see if you have that?
Yes, Your Honor. I have forms for that, and I certainly will file them today. I apologize for their omission. I will also get you the certificate of last known address.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about, well, I mean, I am, the certificate of last known address I need, but the non-military affidavit is from my review of the case law, is kind of a jurisdictional issue for the court. So we really need that one.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Is
I'll
there
get
any
that to you today. I can aver that I don't believe that she's in the military. I can certainly aver that. So
right. And is your client present as well to testify?
no, Your Honor, I didn't think it would be necessary. I can get her to be available though, if that's what the court would require.
Well, here's my thought, because if we're defaulting mom, then I'm going to need to have a record, and I'm going to need to have some testimony to default her, because it's just like we're having to conduct a trial against mom. I understand there's an agreement on everything else, and mom hasn't appeared, but I think the safest thing would be probably if we reschedule for like next Friday and get or whatever date works for you. It doesn't have to be on a Friday. You can do any day of the week on a default, but whatever works for your client, just and I can give you a date now, like if you want, so you don't have to go through the coordinator, and if you want to get a date set today, we can do that. So what I can do is I'll take this other default up. If you want to call your client, just let her know, hey, the judge really wants to hear from you, to finalize this, and get a date that works for her, or a couple dates that work for her. And then what you can do is just come back on and your video, and I will get it reset. And then if you can, just get me that non-military affidavit, certificate of the last known address. And if you don't have a BVS, I don't know if you have that or not, but if you don't have a BVS, you can file that too. And once you get those 3 documents in, we'll be able, to knock it out pretty quickly. So
Sure.
if you want to check with her this morning, and you don't have to do it that way. If you want to just leave the meeting, you can, and I'll just make a docket entry that I said to reschedule you, and we're going to get those forms in.
Okay.
But if you
I
want to
can
get a
call
date,
her and I can pop back on video like you said.
okay, let's do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So Ms. Harani, I'm just looking at the inventory.
Yes, Judge.
I don't see any values on those.
The only asset they have is the car. Let
Okay.
me see if I can.
Well, we can just take testimony on it then, if that's the only asset. I'll just, if you can, make sure you, because I've got to find that it's a just and right division of the marital estate on a default. So I'm going to need
Okay.
some evidence as to value of what wife has and value of what husband has.
Okay.
So when we get on the record, if you can, just ask a few questions about that. Otherwise, everything looks good. So
Okay,
we're going to get the record set up and go. court's on the record in cause number 21 DCV 282779 in the matter of the marriage of Lorna Manrique and Daniel Lucina. Counsel, if you would please state your name for the record and the party that you represent.
Yes, my name is Sahara Hirani. I represent the petitioner Lorna Manrique. And Judge, I also have Hector Marquez here for interpretation.
Oh, okay. And what language is it? Is it Spanish?
Spanish.
Okay, and is he a master license interpreter?
He is not a licensed interpreter.
Okay, hold on just one second, because the law is we have, with Spanish speaking interpreters, it has to be a master license interpreter. So,
Okay.
and that law changed a while back. I know we used to just be able to have family members or people come in and interpret, but now I can't do that anymore. So give me 1 second. We have a language access coordinator for the county, and she speaks Spanish. So I'm going to see if I can locate her. I know the criminal courts have dockets today too, so it may be that we have to go off the record for a second and wait until we can get her for 10 minutes. But we're going to go off the record for a second. I'm going to try to locate Miss Flores. And if I can get her here, we'll be able to have her do the interpretation. So hang
Okay,
tight.
thank you, Judge.
Off the record.
I apologize.
That's okay. Yeah, and if you need an
Judge, turn
interpreter,
off the computer.
just so you know, in the
Oh.
future, if you need an interpreter, the court has or Fort Bend County has a language access coordinator. So if you email the coordinator and you tell her that you need an interpreter to interpret from whatever language, then the coordinator will then reach out to the language access person, and she will coordinate getting an interpreter here on the day that you need it. So in the future, you can just let her know, and that way we'll have somebody here for you. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, Judge.
And you can cut your videos or whatever. I'll come back. I'm going to cut my video until I get a hold of her and see if I can get her. So just hang tight. I'll be right back with you.
Okay, thank you. Hey, can you just tell Lorna that they need a court certified translator? So the judge is going to be looking for one, and we can cut off our video until.
Señora Manrique,
Sí,
ahorita la corte tiene que buscar a un intérprete certificado por la corte. Yo desafortunadamente no soy certificado por la corte, pero van a buscarlo. Si quiere puede parar el video y ahorita van a regresar con el intérprete, ¿ok?
Ok, pero me preocupa eso porque yo dije desde un principio que yo no hablaba bien el inglés. Pensé que eso estaba listo para hoy. ¿No
Sí,
sabían ustedes eso?
sí, antes la ley era que cualquier persona podría interpretar, ahora la ley cambió a que necesitas a alguien certificado por la corte, si es en español.
Ok, ajá, pero si yo corto el video y ustedes me van a llamar o lo puedo dejar
No,
aquí.
puede dejarlo ahí en pausa, si quiere parar el video, pero no se salga de la llamada. No sé si
Ok,
sabe hacer.
perfecto.
Ujú.
Ok, ¿hay alguna otra cosa que se necesite hacer?
No, por el momento no.
Ok, perfecto, gracias.
De nada.
Okay, and I'm just going to add the coordinator, the interpreter, we got a hold of her. She's in another meeting right now, but she said she can be here in about 15 minutes. So
great.
we're just going to stand in recess for 15 minutes. We're already on the record, so we'll pick up where we left off as soon as we get the interpreter. Okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. So just check back in at like 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Your Honor, if you're there, I have an update.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. So I can actually have my client come in today within the next 15 minutes, if that's okay with you, and then I can supplement with the affidavits that you requested.
Well, so I've got to have the non-military affidavit before I take the testimony. That's why I was thinking we would reschedule y'all. But if you wanted to do like, I don't know if does she live in the same town as you? Can she come by and sign the affidavit and you get that filed? Maybe we do the prove up at 1:30 this afternoon, or I can accommodate you anytime today, but I'm going to need that non-military affidavit before I can take the testimony.
I see. Okay. She lives in Fort Bend. I'm out here in Nacogdoches, and so it's possible that I could get her to scan it to me.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be notarized now. She can just do a declaration. So a non-military declaration, which under the Civil Practice and Remedies Code, as long as it says her date of birth and she swears it's, under the penalty of perjury that it's true and correct and has her address in there, that'll suffice. So it doesn't have to be an affidavit. So if she just does a declaration and signs it and emails it back to you, and then you e-file that, once that's on file, I'm ready to go. So
Okay.
I do need to kind of get a time so that I know to come back on Zoom.
Okay.
So just let me know how much time you need. If you want to do like, if she can do 1:30 this afternoon, that might be easiest, because then I'll just come in after lunch and take care of you.
I think 1:30 would be fine. That would give her time to get ready and get the affidavit in, and we'll have time to also file that certificate of last known address.
Let's do that. That way we can finish you up today. That works better for me too. So we'll take care of you at 1:30. Thank you,
All right,
Mr.
thank you, Your Honor. Bye.
I'm not sure,
Okay,
Mr.
thanks.
Ronnie, if you can hear me or not, but
Yes, yes, Judge.
the interpreter was able to get here early,
Oh, great.
earlier than we anticipated. So I'm not sure if Ms. Manrique is going to be able to come back, because I told her 10. But if you can get a hold of her, we might be able to go a little bit earlier. Ms.
Okay.
Lopez. I just
Good
wanna
morning,
let
Your
you
Honor.
know-
Good morning, everybody.
Morning. How are you
Good
this
morning.
morning?
Good
Very
morning.
good, thank you.
Much.
Sorry for the late notice. I didn't know we needed an interpreter. We had an interpreter that the lawyer had brought, but I asked if it was a master license interpreter, and it wasn't. So fortunately, we're able to get you, and I appreciate your time. I
No
just wanted to
problem.
let you know, when I set up my Zoom initially, way back when COVID first hit, I didn't put a passcode in. We didn't require that in our court. And so I don't have the availability, because I've got on Zoom, tried for hours to figure out how to get the little global button at the bottom so that I can actually have you as an interpreter on my thing. And it doesn't work. And it looks like from the research that I actually would have to create a passcode. And if I did that, then it would be easy for me to do. But the problem is everybody already has my Zoom link and ID, all the lawyers. So I just decided just to keep it. So I don't have the capability to do that. So will you be able to just interpret it kind of like we do in court and do it that way?
Consecutive. Yes, or if I may have the permission to have the phone number of the person that needs interpretation, I can mute myself and I can interpret simultaneously what everybody is saying to the Spanish speaker on the phone.
Okay. Would that be the easiest way for you?
I think it would be easier, and it would
Okay.
save time if the attorneys are in agreement.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
just-
no problem.
It's going to
Okay.
be a default, Ms. Lopez. So Ms. Harani, if you'll get her phone number and give that to Ms. Lopez so that she can call her.
Sure.
looks like-
And what's her name?
Her name
Lorna,
is Lorna Manrique.
Laura Manrique. Okay.
Lorna,
Oh, Lorna
yeah.
Manrique.
And
Okay.
do you want me to put the phone number in the chat, or would you like me to just tell you?
I'm writing it down.
832
Yes.
830
Yes.
3971. And if you could just tell her that's what you're going to be doing, because I think she's using her phone for Zoom.
Oh, okay. Is
So-
this a prove up? Is this just a prove
Yeah,
up?
it's just
Oh,
a
then
prove up.
then we can do it consecutively. It's not gonna take long then. Okay,
No,
Yeah,
no
it's-
problem. No problem.
it should take
Okay.
about
Okay.
10 minutes.
Delete that. Okay, we'll
Okay.
try it this way.
Thank you.
Buenos días, señora Manrique. Yo voy a ser su intérprete el día de hoy.
Gracias, buenos días.
Good morning, Miss Manrique. I'm going to be your interpreter today. Good morning.
Good morning.
The court is back on the record in cause number 21 DCV 282779. We now have joining us Master License Interpreter Cecilia Lopez.
Regresamos al acta en la causa número 21 DCB 282779 y ahora en compañía o con la ayuda de la intérprete acreditada Cecilia López.
Ms. Lopez, if you would please raise your right hand for me to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will truly and accurately interpret from Spanish into English and from English into Spanish, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, and if you would please for the record state your name and your master license number.
Cecilia López Flores, Master Court Interpreter, license number 2255, Your Honor.
Thank you. The court's going to take judicial notice that the respondent, Daniel Alberto Lucena, was served with citation and the first amended original petition for divorce on June 2nd of 2021.
Se toma conocimiento judicial que la parte demandada, Daniel Alberto Lucena,
Angulo Lucena.
Angulo Lucena, fue notificado con la primera enmienda de la demanda de divorcio el día 2 de junio de 2021.
And that return of service has been in the court's file for the requisite 10 days.
Y que dicho acuso recibo o notificación de o prueba de notificación fue archivada o presentada con la corte según el requisito de 10 días.
The court is also going to take judicial notice that Daniel Lucena's deadline to file an answer has passed and that there's no responsive pleading from Mr. Lucena in the court's file.
Asimismo, la Corte toma conocimiento judicial que el señor Lucena no ha presentado contestación alguna con la Corte y que no ha recibido contestación alguna de esa parte.
Is Daniel Lucena in the courtroom? Daniel Lucena. There's no
¿Está
answer.
presente el señor Daniel Lucena en la sala?
Deputy, if you please call that name in the hallway 3 times.
Señor oficial de la Corte, por favor, puede llamar el nombre de Daniel Lucena en el pasillo para ver si se encuentra presente.
While the deputy's doing that, the court's going to also take judicial notice that the petitioner has filed a non-military affidavit, a certificate of last known address, and an inventory and proposed property division.
Asimismo, se toma conocimiento judicial que la parte demandante ha presentado ya un affidavit de servicio de ningún servicio militar, también del último domicilio conocido, así como de un inventario de los bienes y deudas del patrimonio matrimonial.
And the bailiff just informed me that there was no response in the hallway when he called Mr. Lucena's name. Thank you, bailiff.
Muchas gracias, señor oficial de la Corte, quien acaba de informarme que no ha obtenido respuesta al llamar el nombre de Daniel Lucena en los pasillos.
Ms. Manrique, if you would please raise your right hand to be sworn.
Señora Manrique, por favor, levante su mano derecha para prestar juramento.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
¿Jura usted solemnemente que el testimonio que está a punto de dar ante esta corte será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad? ¿Jura por Dios?
Lo juro por Dios.
I do.
All right, Ms. Harani, you may proceed.
Okay, I'd like to call Miss Lorna Manrique.
Ahora la señora Girani tiene la palabra y quiere llamar a su primer testigo, la señora Manrique.
Okay, Miss Manrique, please state your name for the record.
Señora Manrique, por favor, diga su nombre completo para que conste en actas.
Lorna Elena Manrique Blanco.
Lorna Elena Manrique Blanco.
Okay, and can you please state the respondent, your husband's name as well?
Y asimismo, ¿puede por favor darnos el nombre completo de su esposo, la parte demandada?
Sí, Daniel Alberto Angulo Angulo Lucena, perdón.
Yes, Daniel Alberto Angulo Lucena. Sorry.
Okay, have you been in Fort Bend County for the last 6 months prior to filing this divorce?
Antes de entablar esta demanda de divorcio, ¿había residido usted en el condado de Fort Bend por los últimos 6 meses?
Sí,
Yes.
Okay, the respondent was served with the first amended petition for divorce on June 2nd, 2021, correct?
Y es correcto que la parte demandada fue notificada con la copia de la primera enmienda de la demanda de divorcio el 2 de junio de 2021?
correcto. Sí,
Correct. Yes.
Were you married to the respondent on or about November 17, 2010?
¿Se casó usted con la parte demandada con su esposo el 17 de noviembre de 2010?
el 27 de noviembre de 2010.
November 27th, 2010.
Okay. And did you cease to live together as spouses on or about February 4th, 2019?
Y dejaron de vivir como marido y mujer alrededor del 4 de febrero de 2019?
Sí,
Yes.
Your marriage to the respondent has become insupportable due to discord or conflict of personalities, and respondent has committed adultery. Is that correct?
Es correcto que el matrimonio entre ustedes se volvió insostenible debido a discordias y conflictos y además porque su esposo cometió adulterio?
sí.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any hope that you and the respondent will get back together?
¿Hay alguna esperanza de que usted y la parte demandada se reconcilien?
No,
No.
There is one child born during the marriage, correct?
Hubo un hijo que nació del matrimonio, ¿correcto?
sí.
Yes.
And that is your son, Daniel Andres Angulo Manrique, age 10, correct?
Yes,
Un momento. Y es el nombre de este hijo es Daniel Andrés Angulo Manrique, de edad 10 años, ¿correcto?
yes, yes, sí.
Yes.
Okay. Prior to this divorce, there were no other court-ordered conservatorships, guardianships, or any other court-ordered relationship affecting this child, correct?
Y antes de entablar esta demanda de divorcio, no existía ninguna orden judicial en cuanto a la patria potestad o tutela en relación con el menor, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
Okay. And do you believe the provisions in the proposed decree would be in the best interest of the child? And are you asking the court to approve of the provisions as to all the child issues?
En cuanto a todos los temas relacionados con el menor de edad, ¿está usted de acuerdo en decir que todo lo dispuesto o todas las disposiciones a tratar en dicha propuesta de la sentencia final de divorcio son en el máximo beneficio de su hijo menor?
Sí,
Yes.
And you are not currently pregnant, correct?
Y usted no está actualmente embarazada, ¿correcto?
correcto.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have provisions in the final decree of divorce dividing your property and debts?
Asimismo, en la propuesta sentencia final de divorcio, en esas disposiciones, ¿usted también ha dispuesto o establecido la división de los bienes y las deudas del caudal matrimonial?
Sí,
Yes.
The only asset that you and your husband own is a 2013 Ford Fiesta, correct?
El único bien que tienen en común dentro del caudal matrimonial es un Ford Fiesta de 2013, ¿correcto?
correcto.
Correct.
Are you asking that vehicle be awarded to your husband?
¿Está usted pidiendo o solicitando que se le otorgue dicho vehículo como propiedad de su esposo?
Sí,
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe this is a fair and equitable division of the community property and debts?
¿Cree usted que esta división de los bienes y deudas del caudal matrimonial es una división justa e imparcial?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. The proposed final decree of divorce bears your signature, correct?
Y esta propuesta de la sentencia final de divorcio tiene su firma, ¿correcto?
sí.
Yes.
And are you asking the court to grant you a divorce and approve the provisions in the proposed final decree of divorce?
De manera que usted está solicitándole al juez que le conceda el divorcio, que le otorgue el divorcio, así como que apruebe todas las disposiciones contenidas en la propuesta de la sentencia final de divorcio?
Sí,
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Eso es todo lo que tengo para mi testigo, su señoría.
All right, I have a couple of questions for you, Ms. Manrique.
Señora Manrique, tengo un par de preguntas para usted.
First, what is the full name of your son?
¿Cuál es el nombre completo de su hijo?
Daniel Andrés Angulo Manrique.
Daniel Andrés Angulo Manrique.
And is Andres spelled A-N-D-R-E-S?
Andrés se deletrea A-N-D-R-E-S.
Correcto.
Correct.
All right. Secondly, you have in your order that you want your husband to pay $1,450 in child support.
Asimismo, en su propuesta de la orden final de la sentencia final de divorcio, usted está solicitando que su esposo pague una pensión alimenticia de $1,450 para el menor, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
But the decree also has a blank for his employer and his employer's address.
Asimismo, en la sentencia de divorcio, el nombre del empleador y la dirección del empleador de su esposo se encuentran en blanco, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
So I need to get some information on this child support. Where does your husband work?
Necesito unos datos en cuanto a la orden, a la pensión alimenticia del menor. ¿Dónde trabaja su esposo?
No lo sé.
I don't know.
Do you know what his income is?
¿Usted conoce cuánto percibe? ¿Cuáles son sus ingresos de él?
No, no lo conozco.
No, I do not know.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second.
Deme un momento, por favor.
Thank you.
Ms. Manrique, does your husband have any other children that are under 18 years of age?
Señora Manrique, ¿su esposo tiene algún otro hijo menor de 18 años?
No.
No.
Does Daniel have health insurance?
¿Daniel tiene seguro médico?
Sí.
Yes.
And who is that health insurance through?
¿Con quién tiene el seguro médico?
Molina Seguros.
Molina Seguros.
Who is that?
¿Y quiénes son ellos?
No, Molina's Healthcare something. Oh,
No, Molina's Healthcare or something like that.
And is that through your employer or is that how was that health insurance obtained?
¿Cómo obtuvo usted ese seguro médico? ¿A través de su empleador?
no, a través de un corredor de seguros.
Through an insurance broker.
And who pays that health insurance?
¿Y quién paga por ese seguro?
Yo.
I do.
Do you know how much that cost you per month for just
Sa-
Daniel?
¿Sabe usted cuánto paga solamente por Daniel? ¿Cuánto le toca pagar a usted por ese seguro?
Sí, $12 al mes.
Yes, $12 a month.
Okay. So if the law says that if a person doesn't know what the spouse makes, that the court is required to use minimum wage to set the child support.
La ley dice que si la persona desconoce los ingresos de su cónyuge, está requerida o se requiere fijar la pensión alimenticia del menor o menores basados en el salario mínimo.
And as a judge, I'm required to follow the law.
Y como juez, tengo la obligación de seguir lo que dice la ley.
So I have to set his child support based on minimum wage.
Así que tengo que determinar lo que él va a pagar en pensión alimenticia para el menor sobre un salario mínimo.
That being said, as soon as you obtain information about how much he makes, I can modify this order and I can increase the child support.
Sin embargo, desde el momento que usted se entere exactamente cuánto él está ganando, entonces podemos modificar esta orden de la pensión alimenticia como corresponde.
You can
Puedo
also
dec-
go through the
May I-
Office of the Attorney General, and they can help you get pay information on your husband, which could help you get higher child support.
Usted puede obtener la ayuda de la oficina del fiscal general de aquí del condado para poder averiguar cuánto está ganando él.
Ms. Manrique, did you want to tell the court something?
Señora Manrique, ¿quería usted decir algo?
Sí, esa cantidad la fijamos en mutuo acuerdo.
Yes, we
Este,
set up that amount on mutual agreement.
Yeah, but he didn't sign the order. So this is what we're doing is a default because he didn't appear. If he signed the order, I could approve any child support the two of you agree on, no matter what his income is.
El
But he's
tema,
not here to agree.
el tema es que su firma no está en este acuerdo. O sea, estamos resolviendo este divorcio por rebeldía o por falta de contestación. Si su firma estuviera en el acuerdo, entonces yo podría aceptar lo que acordaron.
Also, he can continue to pay you $1,450 if that's what the two of you agreed to. But the order is going to have to read that he's paying a lesser amount.
Ahora, si él desea, según lo que ha acordado con usted, él puede continuar pagándole a usted una pensión alimenticia de $1,450, pero no va a concordar con lo que tengo que poner aquí en esta orden, basado en que se desconoce, ¿no? El
claro,
ingreso.
lo entiendo. Solo
Sure,
que,
I understand. The only thing is that
no, esa parte la ha ocultado y no desea que yo tenga información, acceso a esa información.
yeah, that part he has hidden it from me. He does not want me to have access to that information.
I understand. And that's
Entiendo.
why when if he had a lawyer and he was appearing in this case, we get that information a different way, but we can't do that because he didn't appear.
El asunto es que se hubiera hecho de distinta manera, hubiéramos tenido acceso o encontrado la manera de tener acceso a esa información si él hubiera estado representado por un abogado, ¿no? Y se hubiera hecho de otra manera.
So the child support amount is going to be $242 per month is what's going to be in the order.
Lo que va a figurar en la orden final, en la sentencia final de divorcio, es que se le ordena a él pagar una pensión alimenticia mensual de $242.
And that will begin August the 1st of 2021.
Y esta orden entrará en vigencia el 1 de agosto de 2021.
Judge, if I may, could I ask my client some testimony regarding retroactive child support? So that could be ordered as well. We did not put it in the final decree of divorce due to the amount of child support that they agreed on, but if I could have my client testify and you could order it, and I can file a new final decree of divorce if you give me an entry date.
Let me look.
Su
Go ahead.
señoría, yo quisiera intervenir y solicitarle a usted si puedo hacerle unas preguntas a mi testigo, a mi clienta, en cuanto al pago de la pensión de alimentos retroactiva, ya que como no se puede poner aquí que él va a pagar $1,450 de pensión mensual, entonces quisiera hacer unas preguntas a mi testigo en cuanto a la pensión alimenticia retroactiva. Déjeme ver un momento, señora abogada.
I do not see, or I didn't see in the first amended original petition for divorce, a request for retroactive child support, but if you can verify that that's in there, then I'll take that up.
No veo que esta solicitud para el pago retroactivo de la pensión de alimentos figure en la primera enmienda de la demanda de divorcio. Si usted me indica dónde, en qué parte de ese documento se encuentra, entonces yo podría escuchar el testimonio.
Because since it's a default, Ms. Harani, I've got to stick to the four corners of what's in the pleading because I can't default him on anything other than what he was served with.
Porque como se trata de un divorcio, una confirmación de divorcio en rebeldía, solamente tengo que adherirme a lo que se tiene que recitar en una situación de falta de contestación por la otra parte.
Okay, Judge, I'm looking at the First Amendment. I do not see the request in there.
Sí, efectivamente, su señoría, no veo que hayamos solicitado el pago retroactivo de la pensión de alimentos en la primera enmienda de la demanda de divorcio.
Okay, the request for retroactive child support is denied.
De modo que se deniega la solicitud para el pago retroactivo de pensión de alimentos.
All right, anything else that we need to address on the record?
¿Hay algo
for
más que
record?
deseen agregar en acta?
No, Judge.
No, señor juez.
All right, that completes the ruling of the court. Ms. Manrique, the court is granting the divorce based on irreconcilable differences and adultery.
Esto concluye, con esto se concluye la orden final de la Corte. Señora Manrique, se le concede el divorcio basado en diferencias irreconciliables y adulterio.
The court is also appointing you and Mr. Lucena as joint managed conservators of the minor child.
Asimismo, la Corte nombra a usted y al señor Lucena como tutores administrativos conjuntos de la tutela del menor.
And the court is awarding you the exclusive right to determine where Daniel lives, and there's no restriction on your ability to move.
La Corte asimismo le concede a usted el derecho exclusivo de fijar el domicilio del menor sin restricción alguna de dónde sea esto.
I'm awarding Mr. Lucena a standard possession order, which is contained in the default decree that you've filed with the court.
Asimismo, lo estoy nombrando al señor Lucena como con el régimen de visitas, como con derecho de posesión al menor, tal como se indica en la sentencia final de divorcio.
I've already covered the child support, but on the health insurance, you will continue to cover Daniel on your health insurance.
Ya hemos hablado el asunto de la pensión de alimentos y usted, en cuanto al seguro médico del menor, usted continuará pagando su seguro médico.
If there are any healthcare expenses that are not paid for by insurance, you and Mr. Lucena will each pay 50% of those uninsured medical expenses.
Si hay alguna parte del cuidado médico que no sea cubierta por el seguro médico que usted está pagando para el menor, todo gasto no cubierto por dicha póliza de seguro será dividido 50% por usted y 50% por el padre del menor a pagar.
And the court finds that all of these provisions laid out are in Daniel's best interest.
Asimismo, la Corte determina que todas estas disposiciones son para el máximo beneficio del menor.
The court also finds that there was no significant property accumulated over the course of the marriage relationship.
Asimismo, la Corte determina que no hubo bienes acumulados sustanciales o de mayor significancia durante el matrimonio.
And the one large asset that the parties have, the Ford Fiesta motor vehicle, is awarded to husband.
Y el único bien ganancial de la propiedad mancomunada es el Ford Fiesta, que está siendo otorgado al esposo.
But also there are several debts that the community has, and I'm ordering the husband to pay those debts.
Asimismo, existen varias deudas del caudal matrimonial y estoy ordenando que el esposo se haga cargo de dichas deudas.
Specifically, Mr. Lucena is ordered to pay the IRS debt for 2015 through 2018.
Específicamente, estoy ordenando que el señor Lucena pague la deuda al Servicio de Rentas Internas de los años 2015 a 2018.
He is also ordered to pay the debt owed to Summer Wind Apartments
Summer Wind Departments. Asimismo, estoy ordenando que el señor Lucena pague la deuda a Summer Wind Department.
Apartments.
Apartment.
And then finally, the respondent is ordered to pay the debt owed to Soledad, Soledad.
Asimismo, se ordena al demandado cancelar la deuda a Soledad.
And the court finds that that is a just and right division of the community estate of the parties.
Asimismo, la corte o el juez determina que esta es una división justa e imparcial.
And the court is signing this default final decree of divorce.
Y este juez está firmando la sentencia final de divorcio basado en falta de contestación o en rebeldía.
And with that, we're going off the record.
Con eso, hemos cerrado el acta.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Ms. Manrique, I will say this, and Ms. Lopez, you can just interpret one more thing for me.
Señora Manrique, con esto quiero decirle algo más.
Please contact the Office of the Attorney General. They can help you get increased child support. Or if he agrees to pay the $1,450, y'all can just continue to do that. But it might be safer for you to get that documented in a court order.
Si su esposo desea continuar pagándole los $1,450 que han acordado, que él pague como pensión alimenticia mensual, está bien, pero para estar más segura, es recomendable que esto se ponga en una orden judicial y para lo cual usted tendrá que obtener o puede obtener la ayuda de la oficina del Attorney General, que es el fiscal general, y ellos pueden ayudarla a poder averiguarlo sobre los ingresos de su esposo y así poder poner lo que usted está pidiendo o que han acordado en una orden judicial por escrito para estar más seguros.
¿Dónde obtengo esos datos?
¿Perdón?
¿Dónde obtengo esos datos?
Where do I get that information?
Let her know.
Your lawyer can help you with that. I just, I think that might be easier for you because it wouldn't cost you any money and they're good about going in and getting those pay records from him.
Sí, es recomendable que usted vaya por esa vía. Su abogada le va a facilitar los datos de cómo comunicarse con la oficina del Attorney General, quienes no le van a cobrar para poder obtener esa información que usted necesita.
Thank you, Ms. Manrique. Good luck to you. Thank you, Ms. Irana.
Señora Manrique, gracias, que le vaya bien. Y señora Irani, muchas gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
You're welcome. May I be excused, Your Honor?
May.
Thank you. Que les
you,
vaya
Judge.
bien. Hasta luego.
Gracias, hasta luego.